In this video, we're going to take a look at fractions and finding equivalent fractions. A fraction is simply a part of a whole. For example, if we have a pizza cut in 3 parts with 2 parts shaded, we would say that we have 2/3 or 2 parts out of the whole, which is made up of 3 parts. A little vocabulary with that, the parts on top we call the numerator. The whole on the bottom we call the denominator. An interesting thing about fractions is there's sometimes several ways to express the same part as a whole. We call these equivalent fractions, or fractions that might look different, but have the same value. For example, I might have a pie that's cut 4 ways, and the 2 top ones are filled in. That would be 2 parts out of the 4. However, you might also notice you could think about that top as 1 filled part out of 2 similar-sized parts, or 1/2. They represent the same part of the pie, but they might look a little different. The way we can find these equivalent fractions is we multiply by 1, because multiplying by 1 doesn't change the value. If I take 5 and multiply by 1, the answer still is 5. The advantage of this is there are many different types of 1s. We could write 1 over 1 as a fraction, and if we were to divide, because a fraction bar means to divide, 1 by 1, we end up with 1. Similarly, 2 over 2 reduces to 1. 3 over 3, when you divide, you get 1. In fact, it doesn't matter as long as the top and bottom are the same. It still will represent a value of 1 when we reduce it. So we'll combine these ideas of multiplying by 1, these weird fraction-looking ones, and we can find several equivalent fractions. If we want 2 equivalent fractions of 3/4, we just have to multiply it by a 1, where the top and bottom are the same. And it doesn't really matter what the top and bottom are. We could multiply by 2 over 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. And we get 6 over 8 is an equivalent fraction, the same value as 3/4. We could multiply 3/4 by something else to get a second equivalent fraction, maybe 3 over 3. As long as the top and bottom are the same, we're multiplying by 1, so 3 times 3 is 9, and 4 times 3 is 12. We get this equivalent fraction 9/12. All 3 of these fractions represent the same value, even though they might look a little different. How about this one? 7/5. We can find equivalent fractions to 7/5 by multiplying by some 1. Again, it doesn't matter which one we choose. Maybe we multiply by 10 over 10. Doesn't matter as long as the top and bottom are the same. 7 times 10 is 70. 5 times 10 is 50, and we have an equivalent fraction. We could find a second equivalent fraction by taking 7/5 and multiplying by something else. How about 8 over 8? Same thing on top and bottom. That's all that matters. 7 times 8 is 56, and 5 times 8 is 40, and we have another fraction that's equivalent to 7/5, just looking different, but having the same value. We can find these equivalent fractions by multiplying by a 1, which is a fraction with the same value in the numerator and denominator.